Yo.
Raj.
What's up, Devin?
Not much. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
I'm excited. It's going to be a good one. Well, look, I just want to say off the bat, everyone can see that I'm on location, and I have changed up the picture behind me. I have this excellent...
I like it.
It's art. Very good, right? Yeah. Art, that's what it is. We came down to visit Vanessa and I came down to visit our friends in Oceanside, which is just north of San Diego. Mm-hmm. And it's nice.
Is it hot over there?
It is hot everywhere. Southern California is hot.
Oh, man.
It is no good. But you know what? We're not complaining. It's
we're not
great.
complaining.
How are you over there in Portland
I'm
Ranch?
good. I'm hot. Won't complain. It's nice and warm. I can appreciate it. I am definitely sweating over here, but I like it. It's not that bad. Jump in the pool afterwards, I guess. I don't know.
Well, to cool everybody down today, we have a very, very special guest. Legendary bass player, Jamaican bass player Val Douglas is joining us today.
Yes, sir.
He's played with everybody from Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, Dennis Brown, the Now Generation Band, Abyssinians. The list goes on, and we will be talking to him about his long list of accomplishments and the bass that you have all heard if you've listened to reggae in any capacity in your life.
Yes.
But before we do that, we like to start the show. Well, first we like to ask everybody to share the vid. If you're watching, share it on Facebook and YouTube. Hit like and hit the hearts and all that stuff. Go subscribe to the podcast as well. The Reggae PodClash is now available as a podcast wherever you get your podcasts. But before we bring Val on, we like to do something that we do every week, which is called the Tune of the Week. And Roger and I both collect a lot of Jamaican records, and we like to share it with you. And today, I think, who's going first, Raj?
Oh, it don't even matter. I'm ready.
Since you're ready, let's have you go first.
Let's do it, baby.
What's your record?
So check this out. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the organ instrumentals, and I try not to just pick those tunes, even though if it was my way, there'd be a lot more that make their way in. But this tune is called "The Vampire" by the Upsetters, and it's
that made it sound like I'm standing here like no organ instrumental.
He's texting me right now like, I told you the last organ instrumental. This is it. But this tune is a heavy tune. Check it out. We'll talk about it. It's "The Vampire" by the Upsetters.
All right.
You're the witch doctor, but I am the vampire. I say my patient needs another injection.
And that shall be successful.
The Upsetters, you
Woo.
know that sound.
Yep.
When you hear the Upsetters, you know that sound. You know, it's like this. It is. It's Family Man. It's Carly. It's, you know, you got Glenn Adams on organ. When I first was hearing, the Upsetters, you can tell when it's Winston Wright or when it's like Glenn Adams, because for me, Glenn Adams plays some really tasty lines, but they're very, I don't want to use the word simple, but they're very just, straight ahead. Whereas Winston Wright was a little more, so songs like Return to Django and Live Injection, credited to the Upsetters, but that's Winston Wright on there. And you can tell there's just a different swag, a different attitude, a different approach. So the Glenn Adams tunes are like kind of just, straight ahead, bouncy and cute. And I dig when the chord changes are eerie and funky like that, like the intro. I think we all do, right? We all kind of dig that tension and that whatever it really is, where the chord changes are just kind of unorthodox. And
there's like I guess it's like a wrong note that I always hear, but like the song wouldn't be the same without that. It's like when he goes for the doo doo doo, but he it's not that third note. He hits a different one, but it's like I need that. It's like a little oh yeah, that's what I want.
For sure. Yeah, the tension. I'm telling you, it's like when the whole theme. There's a long story, and we could actually do a whole show on this. But if you guys heard the intro, it's like Lee Perry kind of doing this whole, acting and doing this whole witch doctor thing and the vampire and this whole story. And he says, my patient needs another injection. And that's kind of a tip of the hat to like the song Live Injection. And if you notice, over the years, a lot of Jamaican tunes will do that. There was a lot of like horror, scary movie themes. And then there was also the Western side of it. So then you had all these Western themes, right? Everybody from Lee Perry to Derek Harriott came in, Trinity. I mean, Iroy, there'd be versions upon versions of just kind of, getting back at that other producer. And it's a really cool thing to follow as a collector. Yeah. You're like, oh, I see this story. I see what they're doing there, So that's definitely one of the tunes that I dig as an organ player, and growing up learning like what the heck, what part organ had to play in this era of reggae, 1969 and 70. That was definitely one of the tunes that I had gotten early on. And of course, like on some compilation. And then obviously years later getting it on 45. And if you notice, the 45 is like someone scribbled their name on it.
Yes.
So I wanted to talk about that. Like, ladies and gentlemen, when you collect records, sometimes, you shoot for the moon and you want the perfect label and you want the perfect grade on the actual vinyl so it plays great. So sometimes you got to compromise. Sometimes you get someone that, I think this is Duke Evertley.
All right, well.
So Duke, got your record, bro.
Oh Duke. So he's known for scribbling on his records.
He's known for, he doesn't want no one to steal his records. It's no big deal. So what do we got, Dev? What's your tune?
All right. This week I'm playing one of my favorite tunes. This is a song called Changing of the Times by Danny Clarke and the Meditations. This is 1976. It's an upbeat steppers rhythm. And just like last week, I've done 2 weeks in a row of songs that for me, it's really all about the lyrics. So just pay it. He's getting really philosophical, and the lyrics to this song are really important. We'll talk about it on the flip side, but here it is. Danny Clarke and the Meditations, Changing of the Times.
Why do we keep pressuring our brothers in this time? After a change, and we've got to change. Wishes plain for everyone to see. Ask for more laws, yes, to cut crime ways. And we've got the laws to which we all agree. The same way we ask for these things and stand up for our rights. Why can't we give some love and stop stop a fuss and fight. Just like how we get used to the changing of the time. That is how I would like to see us change to love. Oh yes, just like how we get used to the changing of the time. That is how I would like to see us change to love. We ask for more education and more following our lands. Well, education is now not more than we can manage. And the value of land is great, we ask for more wages. And that is coming, yes it's coming, it is coming up soon. Same way we ask for these things and stand up for our rights. Why can't we give some love in and stop a fuss and fight? Just like how we get used to the changing of the time. That is how I would like to see us change to love. Just like how we get used to the changing of the time. That is how I would like to see us change to love. Just like how the changing of the time. Pressure in and the land. Just like how.
Yes, man, that's a
Dope tune.
I know it's like it's a dancey one, but to me that song is all about the lyrics because he's talking about like you could see like just my window into his songwriting process. He's just like he had this idea, and he's saying like just like how we get used to the changing of the times, that's how I would like to see us change to love. And he keeps like listing all these examples. He's like, you know, we did these, like we asked for more laws, you know, these crime laws, and because we decided we need them and we got them, and we asked for more you know, education, and we got that, and we're dealing with that now. And just the same way we all decided to ask for these things, that's the same way I'd like us all to decide to change to love in general, right? So I just like, it's kind of a unique approach to lyric writing for me. It's just like, you know, it's not like he sat down and was being general with things, right? He was just very specific. He had it's like you could tell like he was thinking these things through before he wrote the song. It's just like an idea he had philosophically, you know. If we can get used to, you know, if we can decide to make a change in all these other ways and then implement it, why can't we decide to change to living with more love and implement that, right? So that always like really stood out to me, that song, just for the lyrics. And then, you know, I've said it before, I think 1976, if I had to pick, is like my favorite year in Jamaican music. Just
wow, nice.
It's just so many things just came together, right? Recording quality, it's not too clean yet, but it's like definitely improved from what it was a few years before that, you know.
Yeah.
And then just the rocker style is just in full effect. You know, all the songwriters and singers have really embraced it. And, you know, you have groups like Culture and the Mighty Diamonds, and it just goes on and on and on. The Meditations like this, who are just, they've really embraced like the rockers sound. And it's not brand new to them anymore, and they're just like going with it, you know. So this is all, of course, just my outsider's, you know, perspective on it. But that's what it always, 1976, it just tends to be my favorite year musically.
Is Danny Clarke in the Meditations? Or
Yeah.
Is he like, yeah. Okay.
Oh, Val is in the comments saying he's on that tune.
No.
Wow. Okay, well, we're going to talk to you
No.
about that, Val. Wow. So that's completely
man.
coincidental. That's amazing. Well, Val, I love that song.
That is crazy.
Well, should we just like bring Val in now?
I
And-
think, yeah.
I mean,
without
that's
further ado.
yeah. Without further ado, it's very rare that we have a musician of Val's caliber, and also one who's on the tune of the week that we just played. So let's bring
Crazy.
everybody. Put your hands together for legendary bass player of the Scatolites now, Val D.
Yeah.
Can you hear
Yeah.
us?
Val-
Oh, go on.
Yo,
Yeah,
so you're on that tune, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, them times I did most of the stuff that came out of Federal Records,
Uh huh.
Mm-hmm.
the Wildflower label. Yeah, I used to do most of them, most of
Wow.
them.
Wow.
Do you remember that session?
Uh, no, not really.
Well,
I mean, it's one of a few
Right.
sessions that we
of
did with
course.
Danny. Danny Clarke
Yeah.
meditations. Yeah.
Jeez. When is the last time you heard that particular song?
It's been years, many
Wow.
many years, for real.
Do
Yeah,
do you I mean, do you find that like you have fans coming up to you asking you to autograph records and stuff that
never
you have
seen
to
before.
stop and look at, you know?
That's true. Never seen them before, because what happens is, especially when you go to like Europe,
Mhm.
people be like, "Wow, you played on so and so," I'll be like, "Oh yeah, uh huh." you know, they present you the record and you look and you say, "Oh yeah, probably yeah," because
Right.
the time and the artist,
Mhm.
and the studio, okay, that's me, you know.
Right. Right. Wow, man.
But it's very interesting because sometimes, especially like the first time I went to England, after went with Beres Hammond, right? That was the first time he was going to England too. Okay,
Mhm.
so it was interesting. And we're staying in Birmingham, and after the gig, and even before that, we had to do like some rehearsals, right? Because I took a keyboard player and my drummer. Just the three of us went, and then I got two guitars over there, got a horn section over there. We rehearsed in UB40's studio. So after rehearsal, we'd go to like a basement party,
Mhm.
right? Because they were into that thing, basement parties in the nights, and it's jammed and it's really nice,
Mhm. Mhm.
rootsy. And I would hear songs that I never heard since I recorded them.
Wow.
And I'd be listening and I hear because I always do little extra stuff along the way.
Mhm.
I'll be hearing this stuff. I'm like, I said to my drummer, "Hey, that's me." And he's like, "What again?"
It's like, stop lying.
But that's what it is. A lot of songs we used to do, they didn't even release them in Jamaica. They just took them straight to especially to England. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, definitely.
so it was very fulfilling to hear that though. Like my head was like swelling and stuff.
Nice. That's amazing. That's so amazing because we had no idea that you played bass on that tune. That's completely
That's
coincidental.
completely coincidental. I
Yeah, I
actually
was
had
good a while ago. I was like, yeah, 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 yeah. I remember, yeah. Okay.
So let me ask you about like the Wildflower label, since I mean, you just were mentioning it because I was gonna, that was one of my notes on that record. Is just for me every time I see, like Roger and I were talking about this last week. There are some labels, right, that you, as soon as you see it, even if you've never heard the tune, you think I should probably take a chance and buy this record because it's going to be good. And for me, Wildflower has always been one of those because it's just got it's the style I like usually. And so I mean, what can you tell us about Wildflower and working with those producers?
Well, the Wildflower label was for Federal Records. You understand? And like you're talking about quality, they had a really good quality studio because right now Tough Gang bought the studio, right? So Tough Gang studio is actually Federal's
Today.
studio, and it was so advanced that I was there. Sorry, I
Sorry.
was there like a year ago, and they did not do much in the room. You
mhm.
know, the room is like bringing back all kind of memories and stuff. But
Wow.
they did, there's changes in the control room itself because they're going with the times. Like
Right.
Pro Tools. Didn't have Pro Tools back then, stuff
Yeah.
like that. But it was really advanced because that studio was actually designed by Polydor of Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they came in and did a really, it was like, wow, fantastic stuff. So that studio was good, and they're always like focused on quality. Like they, as a matter of fact, some producers used to say Federal was too clean. You know,
Wow. Wow.
yeah. I'm sorry.
Wow.
You
And
always
you,
ahead. You had the good, the good what kind of some big fancy board and stuff like that.
right.
Yeah, nice,
It, you
nice
bring
speakers and stuff. Really,
you bring up studios, and obviously, I'm sure you've been in your share of Jamaican studios. So, can you walk us through some of those studios? I mean, I would love to jump in a time machine and be able to go and kind of check out some of those studios. I mean, you mentioned you worked with Lee Perry. Were you able to go in the Black Ark and Treasure Isle, some of these studios?
yeah, man. All of them except Studio One. Never
Mm,
went to Studio One.
mm,
Never.
No, no.
I heard
Well,
you didn't miss much.
yeah.
I it was I didn't want to go either.
Okay.
I
Nice.
I didn't like the stories I heard,
Mm,
Ay, I
you
like it.
know,
Yeah.
right.
and I'm sorry, but a part of the rebel in me
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
dictated that I shouldn't really go there. When I hear stories like Delroy Wilson and a number one song and all he got for it was a acoustic guitar and like a shirt or something. I'm like, what? And this was my own brother owned that studio. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was like, I don't really need to go. I didn't
So
want to go. I was never interested. You know.
and that's great because we never think of that as fans and artists. We never think of the dynamic between individuals there, or how certain individuals are, as far as, or producers rather, as far as how they treated their musicians.
Yeah.
So on the flip side, on the more positive side, what are some of the studios that you enjoyed working at?
Federal was like home. We did all the Ernest Smith stuff and the Pluto Shervington stuff and
Pluto, yeah. That's Pluto is like all the wildflower 7 inches. I've got a bunch. Yeah.
and Ernie and stuff like that. Yeah. And I used to like to go. Harry J was another home too.
Mm,
Harry J definitely. Did all of the not really like the Joe Higgs stuff
Mm-hmm.
and the Lana Bennett stuff and stuff like that.
Nice.
I like Dynamic too. Did a lot of stuff in Dynamic. Pablo Moses and
nice.
some of the Derek Harrod stuff. We did Derek Harrod stuff at Federal too.
Right.
Uh, Channel One was alright too.
It's
Did
all right. Yeah.
yeah.
Channel 1 was all
I
right.
think I did some meditations thing there and some other little things, but not much stuff. And Joe Gibbs was almost like another home at one point too.
Oh, wow.
But when I say home, I was never one to hang out at the studio. And that was
Mm-hmm.
me. Call me, tell me what time. I get there 10 minutes late, and I plug in and I tune quick, and I'm ready. And I'm sitting down there, and I'll get up after the first tune. I'll go listen to it in the studio in the control room. If that's all right, okay. I go sit down again, and I ain't getting up till we finish whatever songs we have left to do.
Yeah.
I just go listen to the first one, make sure, okay, my bass sounding properly, you're doing the thing right, and okay, let's go.
Right.
And when I finish, I'm out.
Yeah.
Pay
In and
me,
out.
or tell me where to go collect my money,
Right.
and I don't
And
hang
then
out in
some,
the studio.
and then you don't hear the song until years later when you're on a podcast.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. Were
that's good. That's all
were
right.
Yeah.
were
No,
most producers did most producers just trust the musicians? You mentioned you would go in for the first song, listen to the song, make sure your levels were right, make sure the bass sounded good coming out of the
yeah.
control room.
See?
Were most producers, were they trustworthy of the musicians to go ahead and do that, or were there some producers that were really, they knew what they wanted?
And most of them had to do that. Because most of them were really executive producers.
Mm.
They didn't come in there with a lot of what's that? They came in with money. You understand? They came in as executive producer. So we musicians actually produce the songs. When you really think of it, we really did the production of it. And they would like the producers, the so-called producers, they would like, okay, yeah, that's all good. But most of the time, all they could say is, oh, I was thinking of it more faster. You can do it faster or slow it down. But that's it. They couldn't really say, maybe you shouldn't put the bridge there. They don't know what the bridge is. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we don't get a lot of credit for producing these songs, but
Right.
that's what we actually did that. You know?
Or even writing. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but as a musician myself, I can only assume that a lot of these songs that are classic songs, yes, the lyrics might have been, written obviously by the singer, but a lot of these tunes, the musicians don't get credit because they're actually writing the song. I mean,
Exactly. That was now it's changing a little bit. Pretty much it's changing a bit now. But then back then it was unheard of. You know what I'm saying? It was unheard of. Really.
And especially like the bass player in reggae, because in reggae the bass is often the melodically the thing you walk away remembering, So it's like it's such a big part of, you talk about like writing the song, it's like you walk away humming that bass line.
Exactly.
But it's not viewed, it's like from a legal songwriting standpoint, they're just like, oh, all you did was play bass on it. So that must have been frustrating at times,
Yeah. That's true. The bass really plays a very important part in our music, very, very.
right.
It's like a counter melody, really,
Yeah.
You have such a long list of amazing musicians that you've worked with, and a couple names pop out to me that I wanted to touch on because when you see a list like that, you kind of, oh, okay, I've seen that name before, but I've never met anybody that's worked with, for example, Lloyd Charmers, for example. What did you do with Lloyd Charmers?
Oh man, I used to love playing sessions with Lloyd. And most of those sessions, most of them were at Federal too, And Lloyd was into, well, he just wanted to, he was a producer, He was a producer. He wasn't just executive. He was actually, because he could actually play. He played keyboard sometimes. But most of the time it was like Robbie Lynn, violin though, on keyboards. But Lloydie, he had good ideas and he was a singer too. So he got good stuff out of the singers who he produced. He produced like Marcel Griffiths, he produced himself, he produced BBC and a bunch of other people, he was a good producer. Yeah.
Wow.
When you finish a Lloyd Charmers session, you usually feel some kind of satisfaction. You feel like you play some music today.
What were some really memorable tunes that you remember working on with Lloyd Chalmers?
Oh man, no, don't do that to me now. A bunch of songs,
Yeah.
Have I Sinned as BBC? Did a bunch of things with BBC. He did some stuff, some Marcia Griffith stuff, and a bunch of Ken Booth songs, a whole bunch of them. Yeah.
What era what years would those Ken Booth recordings have been for you?
Like 73, 72, 73, up to like 76.
Wow.
Because what happened is that in 76, right, with all this CIA business and this, this whole political upheaval and the Michael Manley government and the US didn't like that, right? So they turned the CIA onto us, you understand? And so a bunch of people who could afford it picked up their marbles then, and left the game and went to like Miami and those places. So like Federal was owned by the Couries, Ken Coury and Richard and Paul. They picked up their marbles. They closed the studio and went to Miami. Wow. So Federal worked up to like 76, stopped, and then there's no more Federal again, and then eventually Tough Gang bought them out in probably about the late 90s, somewhere there. Wow. So like I'm saying, with Chalmers, I think Chalmers left for England '76 too. So
Wow.
all that stuff we used to do just stopped right there.
When I was younger and I first heard the name Val Douglas, there was a couple songs I was really, really into by a group called the Now Generation, and so I was like, wow, I mean, some great tunes, tunes like Cup of Tea, Breezing.
Cup of tea.
Yeah, man. I
What's
actually
that?
have it on 45, and if I had more time, I would have played it on this week's tune of the week. But yeah,
That's like the first tune we recorded.
really,
Who actually played lead on that lead organ?
who?
You're not gonna know. Ibu Cooper
Oh,
Oh
wow.
wow,
of Third World, yeah.
wow.
'Cause at that point, I had just gotten Jeffrey Chung to come to No Generation. 'Cause I was there before them, right?
Hmm.
And at the time, Jeffrey used to sing with Inner Circle. Yeah, he used it Inner Circle. I tried to get him and Ibu, right? And Ibu was thinking of coming. And so Jeffrey got him to record. We all recorded that thing. And then Ibu changed his mind because Inner Circle offered him a deal that he couldn't resist. They made him officially band leader and everything like that. And he
Right.
changed his mind. But that's Ibu on keyboards and organ. We
Wow.
recorded that at Federal. So that was like the first recording we did as No Generation.
That's
Cup of
such a
tea.
yeah.
Wow.
It's on the Superstar label, huh? Superstar.
I don't know about the label thing. Just labels is another thing. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
That's another thing.
Yeah, that's for us record collectors.
Yeah, yeah. I
you
love
do a
that song.
You do a song for one producer and who has a label, and then years later you see it on like a different label, another label, then it goes to Trojan and so
Mhm.
One time we backed up in Los Angeles. We backed up Leonard Dillon from the Ethiopians, and he was signing some records for us. And my friend gave him one of his tunes, and it was on the Techniques record. And Leonard's signing it, and then he goes, wait a minute. He's like, this never released on Techniques, and the head of Techniques, still lived in Jamaica. So Leonard was like, "Can I have this record?" Because he wanted to go back to Jamaica, and so he did. So then we saw Leonard about a year later, and my friend asked him like, "Hey, whatever happened with that?" And Leonard was like, "Oh yeah, that was you." He was like, "Thank you." He's like, "Yeah, I showed up at his house and confronted him, and I got a whole bunch of money from it." So
Winston
yeah,
Riley.
Well, I didn't want to say the name, but you said it. So.
Oh, Riley.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 'cause
yeah.
he on
Leonard
Techniques, yeah.
Leonard was like, him get so coward when he showed up at his house. Yeah.
Wow.
And he gave him a bunch of money for it.
Dang.
It was the song "Pirate." You a pirate? That
How
one. Yeah.
appropriate.
Maga, dog. Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Jeez.
So he pirated the pirate.
He
Okay.
pirated the pirate. Yep. That song was about him. He didn't even know it.
We we have to talk about you working with Bob Marley. So can you just elaborate? Like, how did you work with Bob?
Because short story, but intense maybe. The first time I worked with Bob Marley, the only time was we played live with him, No Generation, right? That time Derek Harriott used to have a Saturday night thing, like once a month maybe, at a club called the VIP Club in Halfway Tree. Right? And it used to be, he actually hooked up with RJR, I think, or JBC, one of the two main radio stations then. And we would actually come over live, right, on the radio. And so Derek had this sound system, right, musical chariot, right? And he would have that, he would be playing his sound system, and then he would have a showtime, and each month he would have a different artist, or two, for that show thing. So once he had Bob Marley, and the Wailers. That's the three of them, Bob, Peter, and Bunny. And that was like, Hells Angels is another band that was like not really our rival, but those are friends, but same age group. Yeah, they played, and then we went on and we played, and we backed Bob.
What year was that?
Oh man, come on now.
Oh, I just want to know what era. You know what
Yeah,
era?
it had to be like 1971. Probably 71.
Wow.
It had to be 71, not 72. 71, 72. Most likely 71.
How was that for you guys at the time? I mean, you know you're gonna play, you're gonna back up Bob,
No,
and
but
it's
them
like
time Bob was, I mean, he had,
he was a
uh,
baby still, right? I mean,
them days, I used to make sure that them time he was wearing like, the platform boots and all that thing,
okay.
platform shoes, those, and sole and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was nice. It was a real nice experience because we do like a one little rehearsal with them, and that time Duppy Conqueror was the hit song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I was gonna ask if you remember, because I'm trying to think. 1971 Whalers. To me, that's like such a magical, like mysterious like time in my mind. Like I don't even
Yeah.
like. I've often said if I had a time machine, I would like go back to like the early like 1971 and like see the Whalers do a live show. So do you remember? You just mentioned, and I'm trying to think of like the catalog of his at that time. So like you just mentioned Duppy Conqueror. Like, so what are some of the other tunes that you would have been playing with them at that
and
time?
the good thing about it was that we as a band, as Now Gen, we used to do their songs. And we were like the only band who used to do their songs, you know what I'm
Oh
saying?
wow.
Like, all the other bands want to play soca, I mean calypso kind of thing and jump up and all. But we were like roots from them time.
Mm-hmm.
We were into the content, you know what I'm saying? So, okay, Duppy Conqueror,
Yeah, I want the set
uh,
list.
Who the Cap Fit?
Who the cat fit? Yeah.
Who the Cap Fit? Let me
Yeah.
hear it. Sun is Shining. I remember
Yeah.
that one. You know why? Especially, of course, you know the bass line is
Yeah.
there. Boom,
Yeah.
boom,
Mm-hmm.
right? Boom, boom. Yeah, anyway, so we did that, and that one, Peter Tosh played the melodica on that one. Spread out the land of yeah, I never forget that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Peter
He played it
Tall,
live. He played the melodica live on stage.
live on stage.
Wow.
Tall with the melodica. That was wicked, really. Yeah.
So what, like, I'm sorry for dwelling on this. I'm just trying to like get the full picture of this. So you've got like, let's say I'm at this show and I'm watching it. So there's Bob, Peter, and Bunny, Val Douglas on bass. Who else is in the Now Generation band like for that show?
Well, Mikey Chung
Mike.
on
Yeah.
guitar, Jeffrey Chung on rhythm guitar. That would have been, that drummer would have been Largy, Martin Sinclair on drums, and Wire Lindo on keyboards.
Nice.
And we had two horn players too, Poco Ogilvy and who was up there with Poco? May have been Benji on trumpet. I'm not sure.
What-
Or Para. I ain't sure. I don't remember who was the
Was
trumpet.
Wire playing with you? Was he playing that show probably because he was already playing in Bob's band, or was it?
Oh no! Why was no generation from before?
So
Before
Bob stole him from you guys.
Yeah,
Oh
Bob stole him
man.
from Bob stole him from me like twice because
Bob.
like in '73, I went to started playing with at the John Cudden Lounge in the Sheraton Hotel, Sheraton Kingston Hotel.
Mhm.
It's a 6 night a week, nice stable job and all that. And I got Wire to come play with us. And Wire played with us for like a while, and Wire played with us for nearly a year. And then he said, "Boy, Dougie, boy, Bob check me. Bob check me again, Bob check." Because Wire had gone away to play with Taj Mahal a little before that, right?
Mhm.
Wow.
Because Now Generation stopped playing in '72. So between '72 and '73, there was a little gap there where, nothing great was happening except studio work was happening. Where I said, "Boy, I'm not going." I'm going to say, "Sure, you want to go." Because this was nice. So, the Sheraton gig was nice, Because we brought roots to the Sheraton. When I went to the Sheraton, they were playing one reggae tune each night. And they would play it like we had 4 sets, and they would play it in each set. I know that one was Johnny Too Bad by the Slickers.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Oh boy, they beat the shit out of they beat the heck out of that tune. Right? And I stayed with them for like a year and a half. When I left, we had a serious reggae section going and didn't change after that, because we even had Jeffrey Chung came in and was singing there too first. And then after that, the great Desmond Young.
Yeah.
You might have heard his name. He's the head of the musicians union back home right now. Desi Young.
Okay.
Yeah, he
Because
was.
there was a singer, Desi Young, too. It's not the same one, right?
That's him. That is
Same?
him.
Warning?
Yeah.
The tune Warning? That one?
Which
Right?
one?
Warning?
Yeah, Warning.
Yeah, okay.
That's me too. That's us.
Yeah, I know. I was going to ask you about that
Yeah.
one. There you go.
Crazy.
Matter of fact, the first tune I produced was with Desi singing. We did a cover of Stevie Wonder's "I Don't Know Why I Love You." I
Wow.
don't know why I love you. That song, I don't know why I love you. I don't. Yeah. Pa pa pa. Spa, ba, da, da. That was my first production. And it didn't go over well with me and the executive producer, who's Harry J from Harry J Records. And so I stopped producing for a while.
Take a
Yeah.
little break for that.
Yeah, I took a little break because really in the business, and I tell you the truth,
Mm-hmm.
when you have to deal with certain producer, you might as well arm yourself too. Might as well just arms up. And you talk to them man, then start put them hand on them gun and all them thing there. And I say, I'm not really afraid of gun because my father have gun. The band comes to my father had gun. So I'm not really afraid of them thing there, but I say, boy, I really, I had to make a decision and say, what, I'll just leave this production thing alone. I think I'm all right bass player. I can do enough, with that. I don't have to get into production. Because if I get into production, I've got arms up. I really go on with bad man thing. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just leave that. So I'm just leave the production.
Leave it for that.
Let them man go and kill off themselves and bad up one another and thing. Yeah,
Well,
leave it alone.
speaking of bad man thing, you yesterday when we were sound
yes.
checking, you mentioned Mr. Duke Reid, and I had asked you, we came on the subject of Treasure Isle, and then you proceeded to tell us that you were there when Duke, pop a shot from the.
Yeah, man, take out the thing on. When was that, man? 45, I think it was 45, kind of pull out high business, And liquor shot right beside me, back in them days, you have the separators, right?
Mhm.
To separate for sound wise, so like you sit now with the bass and an amplifier behind, you have a separation. And especially the drum sets is all separated so they can isolate the sound,
Mhm.
But Duke was funny like that, because he was the old police. He used to be a policeman, right? Before he got into production.
Right.
And he's a man, he has a studio on this side, over this side of the road, and the other side of the road, on Bond Street, and Oxford Street, I think that was Bond Street, yeah. Him about a liquor store, see?
Mm-hmm.
So like when you finish playing and all that, now you go and pay you, take out money. But when you check him, you might be sitting down there, trust me, with you ever watch them excuse me, you ever watch them old movies?
Yeah.
With the bullet straps.
And them bullet strap over, yeah. And
Oh my God.
Bullet suspenders.
yeah, they have a big, they have some one for them waist and they have him shotgun beside him. Yeah, but he love him guns and he was like that. So if the music sweet him, he just might fire a shot in the studio. And he did that one day. The music sweet him. He was in the control room and we in the studio part playing. I'm a 10-minute late, man, okay? Pretty much. As you might notice. So I was coming like 10 minutes late but anyway, we're playing the music and it going down nice. Me and Mikey Chung, Robin Lynn, Mikey Boo Richards on drums, Wire and violin and organ. Right?
Yep.
And you come inside, man. Ready to take the tune on, look like groovy that thing. And when it sweet him, And I guess he just, but so I guess he was kind of like mischievous, you know,
Mm-hmm.
which was strange to me because it's not bigger man for me, you know what I mean? So to see him mischievous like that was like, wow. So him come in and go right beside me now. So Mr. Dougie, all the time I call for your come session. Sometimes like you want to come late. But I don't know where I'm about.
Hey.
Of course, I couldn't act like I'm like really scared. So you know, so me with no bass no one thing. You know, say, oh you going so that's all I could say. Why are you doing
Yeah,
that? You know, oh you going so. And everybody was like laughing but it's not the laughter from a joke. This is a laughter of relief that he didn't shoot somebody or something like that. You know, the gun
Right.
didn't go off and hit somebody. But
Wow.
that's how he was. The music sweet him and pow, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, Duke, there's a story about the first guy who I went to who took me to the studio was a drummer named Lloyd Adams. They call him Thin Leg.
Mm-hmm.
Thin Leg. You must have heard that name. No?
yeah.
Nice.
They play on drugs and poison and them tune. Like.
Right.
Excuse me. And the story goes, and it's true, that the last session Thin Leg did was at Duke Reid. Right? I don't know what happened if Duke Reid did this because he was mad. I think sometime when if the music not going right, so he would actually put one in the roof. Yeah.
Wow.
And he put one in there and he could hardly get out of the way of Thin Leg. Thin Leg run past him and the stairs are like this in Duke Reid studio. And he's like, and he must have made like 2 steps and went down the stairs. And the story is that he didn't stop running until he got to America. Yeah, it was a very nice guy though, and I haven't seen him again.
Sounds like a nice guy.
He was a nice guy, man. Yeah, man.
Tin Leg, you're saying Tin Leg. Okay.
Tin Leg, yeah, Tin Leg was. Yeah, Tin Leg never come back and never do no more session. And I guess his papers were getting ready for him to go. And he just, phew.
That makes sense. I told you, see, Roger's got the studio back there. I told him if he ever tries to shoot me, I'm not coming to record anymore.
Yeah. It's a disclaimer. I can't shoot him.
That's where I draw the line. I put up with a lot, but
Keep on running. Yeah.
Good reason. Good reason.
But Duke Reid was interested in that he would, for him, he wasn't a musician now, but he was an executive producer, yeah, but he was also a producer in that he could hear hit sound. You know what I mean? You could hear that, yeah, that's a hit sound. I mean, he's famous for like, he did a song with, I don't remember his name. But anyway, he did a one song with a guy, and the song was like 2 minutes and 10 seconds long. And he put it out. He said, boy, I put in that out. He said, but it's too short. I'm sorry. He said, all right. I tune my number one. Little Jimmy Brown, the song name.
Oh, Little Jimmy Brown.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Little Jimmy
song.
Brown.
Like 2
Yeah.
minutes and 10 seconds or something.
Mm-hmm.
That you run away. Everybody says, oh, it's too short. He says, all right, he put it out. So short that as they finish it, they play it over again.
yeah.
So, yeah, but Duke was one of the producers. For his bass line, he would actually come beside you and you can't see my knee here, but he would actually come and tap the bass line out on the side of your knee, right? You know, if you're having problem with the line, he'd actually do. He did that with me like once, but I used to hear that he used to do that. So when he finally did that with me one time, I was like, wow, okay. I get Duke Reid treatment now. Come and tap it out. And it's like, what you call it? Like Morse code kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
You know? So,
Yeah.
It was Morse code. He was like, I will shoot you if you don't play this.
If you know. So he was alright. He was a very interesting brother, you know. And
Wow.
he used to drive a GTO. You know, this is a big man, and he always have his shotgun over the back glass. And, oh man, he Duke Reid or something else.
So you mentioned earlier Delroy Wilson,
Yeah.
and you know we really wanted to hear any Delroy Wilson stories you might have. What it was like working with him.
Mm, well, the story is not. I didn't do much with Delroy, but I did some nice. I did like, you know, it's to, a lesson for the learning. You know that song? No?
Rod, you know that one? No,
I don't know that one. No.
Yeah, it's a lesson. Too late for the learning. Made of sin. Made of death. A wicked tune, man.
Nice.
Nice.
I did that with him. I did a song called I Need Your Love, which was part of the soundtrack for the Children of Babylon, Children of Babylon movie. Yeah, part of the movie soundtrack. I did the album named Sarge.
Okay.
You heard of Sarge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did. I think I did. I think there's one song on it I didn't do. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I
We
did stuff. He was he was a funny guy too.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, he'd be giving all kind of little jokes in the studio and stuff. And yeah, Delroy was funny. And the funny thing about his voice, that when he spoke, he had the deepest voice when he talked.
Wow.
And it sounded coarse like he need to cough or something. And then when he go around that mic and start singing, be like, whoa. Whoa, you know, yeah. When he finished singing, yeah, how that sound?
Two different guys.
That's so good.
You're right. That was funny. Really very funny. So call him Sadley. And he was good at like practical jokes and stuff like that, you know. One time he came to, there's a story about him coming to New York, right, with in a circle and a bunch of singers and Roy Shirley and some other people.
Nice.
And they had this big show at Madison Square Garden and stuff. And he called from his hotel room to Roy Shirley's hotel room, and was acting like he's from some record company, you know. Mr. Shirley, you know. So, oh, I like how you sing and and you know.
Oh no.
So Roy was like, wow. And then after that he asked Roy Shirley, what do you think about that other singer, Delroy Wilson? Roy Shirley supposed to have said, well, oh sir, those singers have contracts.
Don't deal with Delroy. He's already taken.
I came back home and told everybody, we laughed. He said, boy, you see how people stay. You know, the guy was, you know, he's acting as if like, yeah. You know, what do you think about Delroy Wilson's song? With I should have said, no, sir, those guys have contracts. Yeah. But he was that kind of practical joker, you know? Yeah.
Right.
Very funny. And
So
he could sing.
we have ESO Reggae Sessions in the comments here. Really wants us to ask you about Joe Higgs, and he's mentioning the Wave of War and There's a Reward.
Oh,
So is that you on those on There's a Reward?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I mean, you know, the first There's a Reward was done from Ska.
Ska. Yeah.
Yeah, but on the Life of Contradiction album,
Right.
we did it over. Yeah, like Wave of War is like, I don't know, something that always touched me, you know.
Oh, me too, man. Yeah, tell us about that, please.
Now I'm cracking up. It was just a very good song, and the words of the song, you know, the wave of war is rising now, like the morning sun. You know, he who liveth by the sword, his time has come.
Right.
You know? So anyway, that I used to actually sing that song every morning for a while. You know,
It's a great one.
Yeah, it's a
There's a great dub version of that too.
very touching.
Yeah,
And the drummer on that was I played with some good drummers, excellent drummers. Paul Douglas, Mike Moore, Richards. This guy's name was Roger Bethelme, right? And we used to be in the same class at high school, George's, right? St. George's, right, in Kingston. This guy was an excellent drummer. He played the drums on it, Roger Bethelme. He later left and he was playing with Little Anthony and Imperials, and he was living in LA for a while. Then he died. He had a car accident thing and he died somewhere in about 89 or 9. But he was very good. He actually left Jamaica because Eddie Kendricks from the Temptations had come down to record, and Byron Lee got Roger to come play drums on that. And the whole Motown people were impressed with him, and they linked up with him, and he ended up going to LA and stuff like that. You know, but that's me. So Soundwave of War, that's me, Roger Bethelme. I think on piano for that song was actually Leslie Butler. Oh, that's another.
Ooh, I love Leslie.
Okay, there you go.
He knows. Roger knows all the keys.
He has a song called Top Cat that I really like. A song called Top Cat. Really cool stuff.
Yeah, the whole Butler family is really fantastic.
Yeah,
especially him, especially Harold Butler. Yeah, and Freddie was good. Oh, the one Howard Butler, no, the biggest brother. He actually appeared on the. Oh, I'm gonna forget again. He appeared on the. What's the guys? There used to be a show, right? That came over every Sunday night, I think, on TV in America, right? A famous show. I really should remember it now, but I'm not. Right? Yeah.
That's all right.
But but he was like the first Jamaican. I think he was like the first Jamaican to ever come on that show, you know.
Wow.
But then after that, no, like so many geniuses, he had some mental problems and came back home and stopped playing. But Howard. So it's the Butler family, really gifted. And
you bring up Leslie Butler, great keyboardist, and I wanted to ask you. I wasn't quite sure, but I have a 45 and I have to dig it up. But there's a song by Winston Wright called "In the Mood," and they released it off Tiger. And on the flip side, it says "Now Generation" version, of course. So I was assuming that obviously it's the same song. So I was like, well, yeah.
In the mood.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And I got it because I'm a big Winston fan. It's not a tune I would necessarily, go play out in the club because I DJ as well. But because it's the take on the Glenn Miller tune, da 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 da. But it's really really heavy. It's in that certain pocket where it's like as an admirer of reggae, especially in 70s reggae.
Yeah, that's a strange song in that.
Right.
I think we went to the studio to do something, and Winston had just finished putting that on. And they called us and they said, well, come sing something on this tune, right? Excuse me. I think that's the song we sang, something like something. Shoot the lady next.
You did, yes.
In the ear.
Yes. Yeah. There's an organ version on one side, on the flip side is like, there's vocal.
Yeah.
It sounds like a group vocal, like you
Yeah,
guys.
the producer guy.
What's his name?
Pete Weston.
Pete. Yeah, I was gonna say.
You
Pete,
got it. Yeah, our memories are working. Yeah, Pete Weston produced that, and we came in to do a session with somebody else, and then said, well, just come sing this. Just come sing that part. So we all went in and sang that part.
Right.
So we didn't actually play on that record at all. That's the singing thing.
Oh shoot! Okay, then there you go. Okay, good. I didn't pick it and try to look for it. I was like,
it was a nice song. And that's the same kind of organ that you like too. The Lowry.
The Lowry.
Yeah,
show on the Lowry, Roger.
Oh,
can you pan now or no?
Okay, no, because I'm using the other camera.
Oh yeah.
But look at, let me see. Maybe I can.
Yeah,
A little. something, something.
Oh, there you go.
The Lowry's over
Yeah,
there.
the Lowry, yeah.
The Lowry
There you
keyboard.
go.
And
Yeah, man.
we were talking yesterday about that when the Agrolites played with the Scotalites, and we brought out the Lowry organ, and and that's
Yo,
the
I
one
was
thing.
like, what?
That's the thing that you remember for sure. And I was like, okay.
I was like, where you guys get that from? Yeah, that was so that was the main organ in Dynamic Sounds at first.
Yeah, yeah.
Later on they bought D3 and stuff like that,
Hmm.
But Laurie,
It's got that sound, you know.
yeah, and I remember it had reverb on it. Like, I used to play a little organ too back then.
Hmm.
You know.
That's
Did you
right.
play on any recordings? Are there some recordings with you on organ?
Well, actually, I did one song called "Stranger in Town"
Mm.
by Derek Harriott.
Nice.
I mean, by the Crystalites. As the
Crystal Lights, yeah.
Ooh, I gotta look that
Yeah,
up.
Stranger in Town. And we did it at Randy's. Why stories go from one story to the other.
Please,
love it.
please.
We love it.
Randy's, they had was a B3 or C3. You had it was a Hammond organ though. I'm not sure it's B3 or C3. Might have been a C3. But yeah, as a keyboard man, with the Hammond, you had to press them two switches
Yeah,
to let it run.
yeah, yeah.
Are you supposed to run it for a little bit and then it's okay? Well,
Yeah.
this one, I think what happened is that because Jamaica's current, right, AC
Yeah, the
was
actual current. Yeah.
was like 50 cycles,
Okay.
yeah, and America was 60 cycles. So we used to have problems. So that used to cause problems when you buy things like even like electric ovens and stuff like that. Things
Right.
like that used to burn up because cycle thing.
Hmm.
And the musical instruments used to suffer a little bit too with the keyboards. So
Right.
that song was actually in G, but I
Wow.
had to play it in B flat.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Because the tone wheels, I would imagine the tone wheels is not enough. The current's not getting the tone.
Randy's
Half.
keyboard was three semitones, 3 semitones below.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had to play it in B flat for it to be in G.
You,
Man,
you,
But I
that's
you
did
know,
it anyway.
I'm so glad you told us that story because look at guitars, they get out of tune. Pianos, they get out of tune. But there are a fair share of Jamaican tunes where the organ just sounds out of tune. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, it's not supposed to be out of tune. All the tone wheels are in sync, you know what I mean? I mean, maybe you need to oil it. But that makes sense,
I mean,
Val. That makes
it
total
was
sense.
within itself. It was tuned, but it was just 3 semitones down.
Right.
You know.
Wow.
So
No, that's crazy, right? That's like one of the
yeah,
you're always people who are obsessed with this music from outside of Jamaica are always trying to like recreate the sound, and that's just one of those like another factors where you're like, no, you're never gonna get it, like because there's just doesn't matter what like tape machines and mics
Nope.
you have, like your
I'm gonna
electric
change
current.
I'm gonna change the whole current in the house. I don't know how to do
Yeah,
it, but
yeah, your organs.
gonna
That's your
do it.
problem, Roger. Over there, your organ is too in tune.
yep. So that was a song called "Stranger in Town."
okay.
And it-
Oh,
I
I
gotta
gotta
look
for
that up.
I have to.
And so another name in your long list of artists you've played with is Dennis Brown, and I'm really curious to hear what, some of the stuff you did with Dennis Brown.
Yeah. Sometimes I look back and I can't believe that Dennis Brown was that young.
Right.
When he used to play with Now Generation. He used to sing with Now Generation for a little bit.
Wow.
And at that time, I would have been like, Dennis was with us. It was like, I was probably like 21 going 22. And then when I check it out, Dennis had to be like 14
Right.
at that time. Yeah. But
Wow.
we didn't look at it like a kid, no. 'Cause he was like one of us, Very, very, Dennis Brown, very, very nice person to work with. And he play guitar,
Mhm.
and he play little keyboards. So if he come with a song, he always has it worked out to some point, You You don't have to be like saying, "Oh, put the bridge here," or no. He has it pretty much worked out. You just have to get your groove and go in. You know what I mean?
Right.
I did some good songs with him too. First hit song I did with him was Silhouettes.
Oh wow, no way.
Yeah, that's the first.
Oh my
Now,
god.
that's a in Los Angeles for various reasons that I won't go into now because it'll take forever. That's a very big song. Silhouettes. Yeah. There's an artist here. There's an artist here named Ja Faith who's from Trinidad, but he's lived in Los Angeles for a long time. Roger and I worked with him, and Silhouettes is one of his go-tos at the show. He always plays it. So everyone in LA knows Silhouettes.
Well, Silhouettes is one of those tunes too where I was having this discussion with somebody, but when you look at a tune and it's just perfect in more ways than one, where the bass is just heavy and locked, where the drums are doing their perfect thing. Another Dennis Brown song like that is Lips of Wine, but I don't want to get into too much. But Silhouettes, wow, man, that's cool. I didn't know you were rocking that. It's a great song, yeah.
Yeah, that's a top 10, top 20 song, man. Silhouettes.
You know
They
what?
did a bunch of other songs with him for Derek Harriot's label too. You know.
Do you remember any of the other names?
If I think hard enough, yeah. Well, I should have written down these things beside me.
No, we
Catch
like
them
that on the fly.
On the fly, you'll be like, ah.
Yeah, right. No, I know.
Oh, it'll be the next time because you're gonna be on the show.
Yeah, we got to do
more.
it. Right.
Got so many questions to ask.
Up, splap, splap, splap.
Oh, Things in Life?
Things in life, yeah.
That, okay. What? So that's you playing bass on Things in Life?
Yeah.
Man, can I just tell you that song is one of, I mean, I'm gonna just go out on a limb and say I like that more than Silhouettes. Like that song is the lyrics in that. I had a really good friend of mine that was having like a rough time, and I told him, hey, just listen to this song. Like listen to this song because Dennis is saying, it's not every day it's gonna be the same way. Like it's like such. If you read those lyrics on paper, you're just like, okay, it's simple. But you hear Dennis sing it, and it's like. It's a genius song because he just took these very like simple message of like you're gonna have bad days, you're gonna have good days, but it's like it just hits you. Like every time I hear that song, I'm just like, okay, I feel better. Like it just makes I don't know. Sorry to go on about that, but I can't believe you play on that song. That's a great one, man.
Yeah, the whole party with Dennis.
That was Matador, I think, right? That was a Matador Productions.
Oh, that was one of the Matador ones.
I think so.
Yeah, might have been like Matador for real. I thought it might have been Derek, but okay.
Either way, that song.
Wow.
We did a bunch of songs, and we did a bunch of things with Dennis, and even later on, at first we did these bunch of songs with on the Derek Harriot thing. Then later on we did some things with Matador, and then
Lloyd Daly, right?
He kind of went. He went with Night Observer, and he started doing all kind of other stuff that didn't include me. Then later on, I did some things with Willie Lindo produced an album in Inseparable. I didn't play Inseparable, but I played like a bunch of other tunes like Senorita and them tunes there,
Nice.
Yeah.
We talked about a lot of the stuff, in your career, but we yet to touch upon what was your first song? What was your first step into recording in these studios?
The very first one, like I said, Lord Adams, Thin Leg took me to the studio. And I had a hard time finding this song. I found it a few years ago, like 2 years ago. It was, I don't know the name of the singer. Right, but it's was it? I still tell you. Oh man!
Oh, you almost had it.
It already sounds groovy just by what you were humming.
Shush.
It sounded up tempo and groovy.
Yeah. Anyway, but I still don't know who the singer was.
Who is it for? What studio or what producer?
No, this guy produced the song for himself.
Gotcha. Okay.
So he checked the drummer, and the drummer said, "Yeah, man, I could be a man who, and carry me in
Yeah.
I think Snapping played on it.
Ah, nice.
Theophilus.
Yeah.
Snapping, yeah.
Yeah.
I like that guy. From a meeting,
Yeah.
always, yeah, we just groove right away. So, Doogie, yeah, Doogie, we just do that on radio, yeah, Snapping.
Nice.
And I think Sticky played on that, played percussion on that too.
Percussion, yeah.
Thompson, yeah. One of them guys, from the meet them, was like, all is like, very hard to call, you know. Yeah. What the tune name again, man? Cha.
I bet you we might even know it. I mean,
yeah, that's what I'm right.
you know,
Just because you left and said goodbye. That's you.
Oh yeah.
oh, okay.
It wasn't a hit because, and I tell you,
Sounds familiar to me.
just from my
It
own,
does.
just from my own self, I said, yeah, let me try and find back that tune. It was hard to find it. I found it like 2 years ago.
Nice.
Wow.
I'm some collector somewhere in England or something like that. So
They
I have
need
it. I have it in my computer.
At that point.
But that was the first time, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess sounded good on interview. So more sessions start coming. You know, start do some things. So I did some stuff for Bunny Lee.
Nice.
Like sometimes, you know, sometimes I cry when I'm lonely. John Holt did that. Went to
Oh,
number
okay.
9 on the British charts.
Wow.
It was the first time he went. I mean, so of course my head is going. My head is swelling right there because I mean, you just start play and you chart already. You know what I mean? Number 9 on the British. I was like, wow, okay,
We
Big.
we
might
got
be
some.
something good here. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt, but we have someone asking a question about because I know beside you mentioned the live show you did with Bob, but also you did some recordings with him, and someone's asking if that's you on is that you on Punky Reggae Party?
Yeah. It's me and Sly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was an
Wow.
interesting thing to. You know how many bands played? The first time they recorded was in England with Aswad. And it was not in the right way. And then they came home, they recorded Boris Gardner. It was not, they recorded almost a third world at some point, still wasn't happening the right way. And so Scratch calling me and Sly. Right? Apparently, the song was going on, and then it got to a point after maybe a minute. Because pretty early, like after a minute, something happened and like, the song just went like, like it's almost like something went wrong with the tape and then it was up, you know, like it slowed down and went back up. So he was trying to get me and Sly to like play through it and try to smooth it out.
Uh-huh.
And we're there doing it and I'm like, no, this don't make no sense. Because there's no way to smooth that out the way it was.
Right.
So Errol Thompson, the engineer, this was done at Joe Gibbs studio, right, one night. I say, Errol, you're up now. You see when we reach a part, just pull out me and Sly. Just pull out everybody else. Leave me and Sly alone. And me and Sly just play it straight through after, you know. So when pull it out, it just be a sound jump. You understand? And then after that now, after we do that, and nice and feel good, then Scratch went and recorded over everybody else on top of us, you know. So vocals, everything have to do over on top of our thing. And that's how that went. God could be in there till now. It's hard to smooth out something that go and then come back up, you know.
Right. Yeah.
It's a boss. And you reach yourself, pull out everybody, me and Sly go through. So we'll step it through, you know. And that. So that was the first recording I did for Bob.
Wow.
So maybe about a year later, that much, I did the other 4 songs that I did for him, which was on the Survival album. Songs like Wake Up and Live, Top Ranking, yeah, did Ride Natty Ride, and so much trouble in the world.
Wow. Those
You
are
know,
that's crazy.
And those 4 were done at Tough Gang itself, you know. with Bob there. Because Funky Reggae Party is just me and Sly and Scratch and Errol in the studio. That's it. You know.
And Bob
So
came in
whenever I
voice
see
afterwards.
Bob, yeah, they put on everything else after that. I don't know where Bob probably recorded, probably voiced that over in England. I'm not sure where he voiced that, you know. But so the Survival album was done at 56 Hope Road, the original
So
Tough Man studio.
So what was like the situation, because to us outside of observers, it's like we know that Bob Marley had his band, right? And specifically bass, it was Family Man. So like what was it just Bob wanting to try some different musicians, or like what was the reason why he wanted to switch it up on those tunes?
Well, truth is, them days, me and Mikey Boo used to run things pretty much.
Mikey Boo, yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's heavy.
We used to be really putting down good, serious, solid music,
Yeah.
And when I say solid music, I mean not just groove alone, but groove and good musical content, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not so.
Who do you, I mean, being a bass player, I'm a keyboardist. I know you play keyboard besides bass, but as a bass player, we can all agree the relationship between the drum and bass is important. I have two questions. First is, what drummers out there did you just lock in with, in sessions? Like,
I'll tell you the truth.
Oh, go ahead.
You see, me personally,
Yeah.
I've heard it said several times, other musician come to me and say, boy, I hear so and so, and it's another, maybe a drummer, but you weren't playing, it wasn't you and him, and boy, you not sound like when you and him play. So I tend to really lock with everybody. I really locked with everybody who could lock within themselves. You understand?
True. Makes sense.
So I enjoy playing with Mikey Boo. I enjoy playing with Paul Douglas. Really. We really do that some great things at Federal, especially all them Ken Boone thing. A whole bunch of them Ken Boone stuff, can't remember the whole of them right now. But anyway, and all them Chalmers stuff, most of them was with Paul too, Yeah. And
my next question to that was related kind of is, as a bass player, who did you look up to? Jamaican bass player or not? Just playing bass in general.
Well, right now, I just the other day I put on a list. Well, first of all, James Jameson, of course.
Legend.
You know what I mean? You call James Jameson, you have to pause. Because everybody else come after that. You have to, you don't just name him down like that. You name him, break, think about it, and continue. Chuck Rainey. I also like Chuck Rainey because I love the choo-choo, the harmony things. Yeah. So I was into a lot of that, especially back in the day, thirds and them stuff. Like Stanley Clarke for the stuff he does, especially like School Days.
Nice.
And Victor Wooten.
Ooh. Okay.
To me, Victor Wooten plays bass, but he plays bass, but he's not a. Oh man, I can't say that. He is a bass player, yeah, but he's almost not a bass player. He's almost like a guitarist playing in the bass, playing in the bass fret,
Right.
you know?
All the chords and
there's some things in bass. There's some things in bass that you don't do.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. He's innovative
in terms of the rest of the song. You know what I mean?
Right.
I can go tip to the little. But where does it fit?
Right.
Unless I'm going to say, okay, I'm a soloist, well then everything fits because I'm dictating the song.
Right.
So Victor gets by with that. He's exceptional, technician. You know what I'm saying? So I respect him a lot for that, and I also respect him for the fact that he still plays a 4-string bass.
Ah, yeah.
You understand?
There you go.
because when you put more strings on the bass after 4, it doesn't sound the way it's supposed to sound.
Especially that 6-string. I don't like the 6-string bass.
Oh, 6 string or 5 string, that's a joke, just to say. And 5 string the sound, and 6 string, they're for like church. When you hit that low B note, that B string, it just go brrr.
Yeah.
You don't go, you get brrr.
Right.
Yeah, those work in the church, but really, and it's all based on, I usually tell people the sound of the bass is in the neck. You understand? I mean, back in 76, I'm dating myself, but
That's my year.
This is you. Yeah. Devin loves 76.
back in
call me.
76, I came up on a tour, very first tour that Burning Spear did. Right?
You were on that tour?
Yeah,
Whoa.
Wow.
yeah, never forget that tour. Me, Horseboat on drums,
What?
Dirty Harry and
That's crazy.
Dirty Harry on saxophone, Bobby Ellis on trumpet, Tota on keyboards. You know Tota, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right. Ranchi McLean.
Ranchy.
Yeah, he was on lead guitar.
Because he played bass
Ranchy.
too, right? I see
That's
Ranchy.
right.
We were talking about Ranchy the other day. I see him listed on a lot of albums as bassy, right?
Out of Channel One, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Revolutionaries. He was
Yeah.
the original Revolutionaries bass player. Yeah, he was lead guitar, and a guy named Linval. Oh gosh, what's my last name again? Anyway, Linval on rhythm guitar. Yeah, nice group. But when I came
Yeah,
up,
sounds like it.
I had this. I always have a Telecaster bass, right? But I bought a bass from a friend from Jamaica who he couldn't tune it, right? A jazz bass, and I set it up and it was fast and all that. But then I tried to experiment with it and take out the frets and say, let me check out fretless thing. And the story is, I went to play it one night, right? And I played one song with it and said to the band, hold on. Took it off and take up back my Telecaster and play. Because, playing a fretless is not the same like playing
No.
fretted, because you got to play further up. You have to play on top of the fret now instead of behind the fret. Anyway, so what I did, when I came up with Burning Spear, I traded it in at Manny's. Yeah, Manny's in New York, right? And I bought a Rickenbacker 4001 Rickenbacker, right? And I went back with it. It back fast on the fretboard, nice on level, and I played some good hit songs on that. I played songs like One Step Ahead, Barry Salmon, and a bunch of some Cynthia Slash, I'm in Love, some big number one songs too. I did play some hit songs with it.
Jeez.
But it still didn't have that thing like the Fender.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because it uses 2 truss rods. Instead of the 1 truss rod the normal bass would have, there's 2 truss rods, so it don't bend, it don't get warped or anything. But because of that, the neck gets too rigid. You understand? So when you go boom, it's not like when you do that on a Fender. You understand? Because it's just too rigid. I don't know how to explain it, but if you take a string,
Yeah.
right? If you take a bass string and put it on the ground, on the concrete, then right, and touch it, it's different from if you put it on a piece of board. You understand?
Right.
So if it's too rigid, it's like the concrete, and that's the thing with the Rickenbacker. But it's good for some stuff. And I did some hot hit songs with it, and then I went back to the Fender in time just before I did the Bob Marley thing.
Just in time. I got to ask you more about that Burning Spear tour. I mean, where was the tour?
First place we played was in a club called A Quiet Night in Chicago. Then from Chicago flew across to New York, and we did My Father's Place out in Long Island.
Wow.
And then we did, and then we went back. Bijou Cafe in Philadelphia. See? And we did another one, another place in Boston. We there. And then we do Central Park. Wow. Yeah, that was something else with a big mirror. So you play there, you be looking up at the mirror at yourself. And, nice big crowd. Really, yeah, we did Central Park was wicked show, you know.
Wow.
It was like a book, like they call it door peeper.
Door peeper, yeah.
Oh, when you start that,
As a bass player, yeah,
gee.
that's got to be like your dream come true to play that song.
Yeah, man, I got mesmerized, man, for real. Anyway, so we did that, and then after those shows, we did Toronto, yeah, and that was the end of the tour. And we come back to New York, and then them go back to Jamaica, and me go on my own tour. We go Montreal, go look for my brother and spend 2 weeks up there.
Oh, wow, cool.
Out of those 2 weeks, I gigged with a group up and them names and faces, which was fun. You know, and that was it. Yeah. But anyway, so that's how that bass situation goes, right? So the 5-string and 6-string to me is like a joke, really.
Well,
you know.
My question leading, was we're talking about basses and sounds and different, approaches is you currently play with the Scotalites.
Right.
And so playing ska music, obviously, when you think of Scotalites, you had Lloyd Brevitt playing the upright and whatnot. What are your, what are your tricks? What's your advice? When you are playing a ska tune with them, with the Scotalites, as opposed to playing, let's say, maybe an early 70s, mid 70s, or just reggae, roots reggae in general? Is your approach the same?
No, the approach is different. So a lot of time you might see me playing with Scatterlights, and my bass is actually like so, and I sit and play because of my neck back situation. That's another story, right? But I end up playing like this just so I can, because when you play like this, you actually get a different feel, you
Wow.
you actually flow to it different. I grew up on ska, so it's not like strange territory for me.
Right.
Of course.
Understand?
Of course.
And the first time I played for Scatterlights was, the thing is that Tommy McCook used to, I met Tommy on these, every year we have these festival song competitions,
Right.
right? And guys would write the music and then they call in people to come and play. So they would call me in when they're doing the studio, when the studio, and they would write stuff because I can read a little bit. And I'm no big reader, right? But I can read a little bit and I got a groove, You understand? So I would end up playing on those things, and then they would call in Tommy to come play the saxophone and stuff. So I meet Tommy from them time.
Mm-hmm.
So Tommy would call me in first when he doing little sessions, little things for himself. He would call me in, and he would also call me for jazz sessions sometimes, live jazz sessions, the hotel sometimes, and things. So '94, they did this album called High Bop Ska.
Oh, I know that album. Good, yeah.
Tommy called me and said, "Well, Dougie, what you do?" Next time I say, like, "What you do? I forgot call you in for something." I say, "What happened?" Well, I have a problem with this album, and I have a problem between we and the bass man. We can't tell him nothing.
I heard about this, actually.
So I mean, me a guy, me break strike and all them kind of thing. I'm not deal with them things, but still, Tommy call me, Mr. McCook. Yeah, I'm going. So he said, let's come fix up some little thing for me. So that year, when he called me, I was actually on tour. I was finishing up a Sunsplash tour, right? And at the end of the tour, I had to go back home because my mother had just passed on, right? So I went home, and the funeral was a Thursday. I came back up the Saturday, and Sunday, I meet Tommy at a studio up in Bronxville, which is New York, but a little above the Bronx, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was going, and them just start, those put on tape. I say, all right, we'll just boom, 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 next, boom, 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 next. I'm gonna do the whole album 2 hours and 35 minutes. See, 2 hours and 35 minutes, but done the album. I say, all right, thank you. All right. I'm saying, yeah, man, everything all right. Huh?
Wow.
So I
Yeah.
check on all that, yeah. So that's the first album I played on, High Bop Ska. I did the whole album. And then, yeah, didn't do anything more with them till 2005. I started playing with them full time.
Wow. You were the, yeah. I mean,
But like I say, I grew up on them, so, you know.
Right.
And even in high school, after class is done, a few of us would just hang around the classroom after the teacher and everybody gone. And we start singing Pure Scatterlights tune. I would sing all the soul of them and all them things. I used to be the drummer really on the desk.
That sounds like when we were in high school.
Yeah. So
playing the buru beat on the desk.
Yeah, man. So for me, playing with Scatterlights is like I never dreamt of playing with them. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
It was like a really great thing for me. Then you know, it's a great thing. It's like I don't know how to explain.
I mean, yeah, because it's like, you know, as Roger was mentioning before, I think before you came on earlier in the sound check, Roger was saying how the Scatterlights, you know, really, and especially at this point, it's like a institution, you know, and so to be able to carry on Scatterlights with, you know, foundation Jamaican musicians like yourself, Vin Gordon, you know, the list goes on and on. It's like, it's a beautiful, you know, you mentioned it's a great thing for you, and it's a beautiful thing for all of us to like still be able to go see the Scatterlights and be watching, you know, Jamaican music played by the people who created it, you know. So
yeah, when I first saw you guys, the first time I saw the Scatterlights with you, Val, I was like, okay. I was like, first of all, I was like, all right, who's you know, and it's like, wow, this is perfect. It's like a perfect fit. And I was like, oh, okay, that's Val Douglas. Oh, no, oh shit. And then you start, whoever's decision it was to get you involved, it was a very good one because it's like, all right, perfect. It's like, it's just, you do 110% justice. Every single ska tune, every single.
I got a call from Ken Stewart, you know.
Ken, good friend of ours.
Big up Ken.
Yeah, big up Ken, you know. What happened is that, so I started playing full time with him in like April of 2005. But in 2004, in like October or something, October or September, they had to do a weekend. They had a weekend thing on the West Coast where they had to do my favorite venue, Red Rocks.
Red
Rocks in Colorado, favorite venue.
Nice.
Amazing. The big rock and it's amazing.
Yeah,
we had to do that, and we had to do something in New Mexico, and one more, like 3 gigs on a weekend. Yeah. So, but at that time they were having little things happening with them and the bass player, and he took another job to go play in France, right? And so they said, damn, how are we going to do this, you know? So they called me in, and I think he got somebody to play in France. So I played with them that weekend, you know? And then so that was like October 2004. And a few months later, 2005, like April, Ken called me. I just had my neck operation, first neck operation. I was like, man, I'm using a cane right now. He said, no, man, come on, you can, you know, you can do it. And I said, all right, let's go.
Right.
So I've been with them since that, you know.
Wow. That's awesome. That's crazy. I mean, you know.
And yeah, but so between 90 and 94, I played with Maxie Priest, and that was good too. That was high.
Yes,
that was touring at a really high level, you know.
Right, especially at that time,
Yeah, we had done a little of that before with Shinehead. You know, this thing where you have like a record company involved and all that. Yeah, that time Shinehead was with EMI. I remember doing one show with Ice Iced Tea. We opened for Iced Tea one time. And,
Wow.
man,
Jeez.
at the end of the night, I was like, really? God, the amount of bad word that guy used. Oh, man.
Really, Ice T?
He would. Yeah, Iced Tea, not Ice
No,
Cube.
no,
Iced
I'm
Tea.
just kidding. Yes, a
Oh,
lot of bad
God.
words from Ice T.
Oh,
Wow.
for sure.
I was like, really? This is the kind of thing I gotta do to play music. Forget it. You know?
Now,
What?
now, this one of our, Herbie Harris says, "Tell us about the one string bass you used on the tour with Maxie Priest."
Herb Harris, Herb Ra, I just watched you on
Is
what you
it,
call it? You got a program called Sonic, something about the Sonic Sound or something like some Sonic Sound business. Yeah, he just interviewed Sly on, but it was very
nice.
interesting. Nice, Herbie. Anyway, the one string, well, you only play one tune with it anyway. And we even after a while, Maxie stopped playing that song. But it was interesting though. I didn't even know you remember that thing. But yeah, I bought it in Japan. There's a brand called Hagashi. I still have it. A nice song. That one string is interesting stuff.
So
But
you like the one string better than a 5 string?
yeah, for that matter, yeah.
Less strings, the better.
Yeah.
I guess has to do with the tension in the neck, you know.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
And the fact that when you play it, it can go boom, you know. You can feel it in your hand. When you have them 5-string thing, with a 5-string, it has to be, you know, it's so much tension because 5 different strings pulling on that shit.
Yeah, it makes
It's
sense.
to avoid
Big bass strings.
so to prevent it from warping, you gotta make it really, really sturdy and so you go poof, you go boom, brr. No, that's not for me.
We need you to release. We need you to do something where you are. It's an educational video, Val. It'd be great. As
Instructional, yeah.
instructional. You know, this is what you want. Bring in the one string bass, and then bring in a 5-6 string bass and just bash it. Just bash it. It'd be great.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
No worries. But Val, it's such a shame we have to wrap up, but we're gonna have you on the show many more times because it seems like there's many more stories, and we have to.
Man.
We need this, man. I love having, OG member like yourself that has so many cool stories, and someone that me and Devin both respect as a musician, man. We're big fans of your bass playing, and
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
once again, thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah,
man.
it was really, really a pleasure and an honor to talk to you.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
man.
pleasure. My pleasure.
Yeah, and hopefully, we'll all be back out and about playing live music sooner than later.
Boy, this new reality is something else, man.
Yeah, something else, man.
Yeah,
It's like a movie.
Yeah,
It's like a movie, man.
It's a long, bad, boring movie.
yeah. Time to cut now, man.
Yeah, it's
No
not.
popcorn either. I got
Yeah.
popcorn.
Yeah. Someone said I saw someone say they were like, this is like one of those movies where you're on the edge of your seat the whole time, and then when it's done, you're like, I'm never gonna watch that movie ever again.
That's good. That's a real good one. Yeah,
Yeah.
For real.
I'm never gonna recommend it.
No. But everybody in the meantime should really go follow. If you're not following the Scatterlights on social media, go follow. It's Scatterlights on Instagram, Scatterlights on Facebook, and you'll be able to keep up with everything that Val and Scatterlights have coming. Because we know you guys have plans as soon as we can all get out and play shows.
Oh yeah, for real. Yeah.
Definitely. 56 years, ladies and gentlemen.
Of
56
Scatterlights.
years of Scatterlights. How crazy is that?
That's amazing.
Such a beautiful thing.
That's amazing. Well, we'd really love to have you back on sometime soon if you'd be into it.
Yeah, man. Okay.
For sure.
Arrange that up just like this time. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah,
Great.
you guys keep on doing the work. I appreciate that. Yeah.
For sure.
These guys like you. You know what I'm saying?
We try our best. We love Jamaican music, and it's just that's been the silver lining of this whole thing for Roger and I personally. It's just on a selfish level. It's like, well, at least now every week we get to talk to someone amazing. So it keeps our mental health at an acceptable level.
Definitely.
And take care of that Lowry organ, man.
Yes, man. We're keeping it here. So
I
that
think I think that organ is the one that played Liquidator. That
yeah, it could be
I
for
think
sure.
it's a Laurie. I'm
Winston, I
pretty
know
sure.
Winston played the Liquidator, so it could be that. Yeah.
And he was a great guy too. Winston.
Oh,
I
jeez.
got a bunch of sessions with him. And he was an older guy for me.
Oh,
But
great. Now we're
respectful
gonna
and fun.
don't get me started. We'll be talking for hours and hours just on what
Yeah,
down
next
that
well
good.
we can do our next episode will be themed. It'll be the first half will be all organ instrumental
Yes.
theme.
And then we'll talk more about the. We'll have Val on next with his bass actually in lap, and
Yes, oh yeah,
Uh,
for sure.
I
Plugged
think
in.
that's crucial. I think that
One
needs to
string
happen.
and four string.
Yeah, for sure.
well, the one string, it's in storage.
Oh, okay. Well, then-
Time to get it out.
yeah.
I
There's an excuse to go get it now.
might grab it soon. Yeah. I'll pass by the storage in another 2 months.
Right on.
All right, Mr. Val Douglas, thank you so much for joining us. It was really a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank
My
you, Val.
pleasure, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Val
Listen.
Douglas.
Yeah.
Yay. Thank you, Val. We'll talk
All
to
right.
you.
My pleasure.
Yeah, man. Val Douglas, man.
Yes,
I just want to rap with him forever because,
I know. I could keep talking for all night long.
yes. Such a pleasant dude, too, man. His smile's infectious, I'll tell you that.
I
love
know.
it.
I see him down in the backstage still smiling, and
I love it. I love it.
yeah, no, that was.
He's a
I
true
have
cat.
so many more questions, so we got to have him back on. But just hearing, it's just we talk about this all the time. How the classic era of Jamaican music in the 70s is just to us such a magical. It just seems like it's almost not real. Like somebody wrote a book, and made it all up. And so that when we get to talk to these figures who were there and lived it, for me, it's just. And I know for you too, it's just
It's
really
almost
amazing.
not real. Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
what? Yeah, love that.
Yeah, man. So we got to get out of here. So Raj, real quick, what do you got coming up?
New 45. I'm in this project with we're called the Night Owls. It's another all-star group. I mean, you got guys from the Lions, Dan Ubig, Blake Coley, you got Dave Wilder, and you got I know I'm gonna leave out some of the singers, so I'm not even gonna mention one of them. No, I mean I know you got Malik Moore, you got Jesse Wagner on this
Right,
45. But go to F Spot Records and check it out. All of the 45s we released with them, it's kind of a boutique kind of thing, and they've sold out. So go pre-order your copy now. It's some funky reggae covers. Yeah,
Nice.
what do you got cracking?
Well, you and I got Sister Carol coming up on the PodClash next week, which
Jeez.
we've got a couple. Next week we got Sister Carol. The week following that we have Toots Hibbert. So we're really just for Roger and I being just Jamaican music is our lives. And so talking to this stretch of 3 weeks for us is just
the
it's
hard
really
way,
amazing. So next week, everyone, please tune in for Sister Carol and tell your friends. And then me myself personally, every Tuesday I'm doing the songbook sessions, acoustic performances. You could tune in. I know this last Tuesday I had some technical difficulties, so I apologize to everybody for that. But I'll be back this Tuesday. And then you can go find me on BackstageMusicLessons.com if you want to do a songwriting lesson or some vocal lessons or guitar lessons or whatever you want to do. I'm having a lot of fun with that. And go follow me on Twitch, man, like Devin, so we can do a little DJ party. And
Yeah.
that's what we got
cracking.
going on, man. So
You guys, if you want to reach out to us, we love people reaching out to us. Go email us at the reggaepodclash@gmail.com. Also, go to our website. Please check it out. We got a playlist that gets updated every single week. And these are tunes that Devin and I, pick to kind of share with you guys. These tunes we may not actually have on record, but they're just, songs that we adore. So go check that out. We try to keep the list, quality, not quantity each week. So 10 songs, just all killer, no filler. Also included in those 10 are the 2 songs that we're going to talk about the following week. So go scope that out. And Sister Carol next week. Don't miss
Sister
it.
Carol next week,
Yeah.
Toots the week after that. And then we even got some,
Instagram, please. That's where you'll get updated every single. Every time we have a guest. Sometimes the times change with these with some of our guests because they live in different parts of the world. For example, today was a little earlier show, so please follow us on Instagram at the Reggae PodClash. And yeah, we'll keep rocking out. I'm excited.
yeah.
For Sister Carol.
And the news is that also sometime soon we're going to have some more members of the current Scatolites on.
Ooh, yes.
So yeah. So everyone, stay tuned. The Reggae PodClash is available as a podcast now, so you can go subscribe, and wherever you listen to your podcast, please go subscribe and rate and review and all that stuff. And we will see you all next Saturday with Sister Carol.
Yeah.
So until then, everyone be good to each other. Big thanks to our guest, Mr. Val Douglas, and we will see everybody